Hi, this is Jason. Why are excuses part of addiction, and what can we do to eliminate excuses from our lives? The insights that I'm about to share with you come from going around weekly, doing about 5-6 meetings in various settings with people in recovery from alcohol and substance abuse. And this week we looked at a verse from the Bible in which the Old Testament prophet Elijah called the prophet Elisha. And this was a very formal calling. He came and he put a cloak around the guy and he said, well, you're going to be the prophet. What Elisha was doing at the time of the call was plowing. And in response to that call, he set fire to his wooden plow and cooked the 2 oxen that he was using to plow that field. There's no excuses in this story. And he's saying, I am not going back to plowing the field whatsoever. I accept this call moving forward. So in the meeting, we asked, who's calling you into sobriety and why are they calling you? And we talked about that for a minute. And then at the end of the meeting, one of the questions we asked was, how do you stop making excuses? And I want to share with you some of the responses that people came up with, because I think people in recovery have some insight about this kind of stuff. And it could be helpful to anyone who's found that they're making excuses. So here's point 1. You only make excuses if you're conflicted within yourself about what you want to do. If you truly want to do some action and you don't care what anyone else thinks and you don't care what the consequences are, you don't make excuses. You just do the thing and you don't make excuses about it. No one makes an excuse about going to work and earning a paycheck. Oh man, I got to come up with some reason why I got to get out of the house this morning. There's no duplicity in the person who does that. So that's number 1. Number 2 is we need to get rid of fear. And I think what happens a lot of times when people make an excuse is they make the excuse because they're fearful about what another person will say or do if they find out what I'm doing or what I plan on doing. If I no longer fear that, I don't have to make an excuse. And I'm not saying, well, just go ahead and commit fully to drinking and doing drugs, then you don't have to make excuses. What I'm saying is, work yourself into a position where you can say, I'm super tempted to go out and use substances, where you no longer have fear about what people are going to say about the fact that you need help avoiding this thing. Get to the point where other people know clearly that you have this issue and don't judge you and are willing to help you. We saw this as we looked at the life of Jesus, where he, on the night before he died, was praying to God about just how frightening it was to think about what was going to happen the next day in the crucifixion. And he tells his disciples, come with me, sit here while I pray. He takes a couple individuals with him, pray with me. He moves forward, he falls on his face and he's praying and he's wrestling with God. If this can be taken from me, take it from me, but not my will, but thine be done. And you see right there that the first thing he did was he got rid of his own internal struggle. He declared to God and to his disciples, I'm struggling with what I got to do next. He finally landed on, okay, no excuses. I am going to move forward with this dying on the cross thing. And I'm going to tell people in my life to pray with me and to watch me and to help me. I think if you discover that, man, my pattern is I pick a fight with somebody and then I leave and I feel like I'm justified to leave because that person upset me and offended me, and then I'm going to drink because I deserve it, because that person upset me or offended me, that's a pretty typical pattern. And I heard people this week say things like, the state took away my kids, so I'm going to drink because you took away my kids. My wife was mad at me about something, and because she was mad at me, I'm going to go drink. Because my kids won't talk to me, I'm going to go drink. And yes, of course it's ridiculous. Of course it is. The reason your wife is angry at you, the reason your kids don't want to talk to you is drinking. And your solution is then, well, I'll show them I'm going to drink more. Instead of saying something else entirely. So that would be my initial advice to you, is to get super clear and to be honest with others about the struggle you're having. My final piece of advice is just this, is to confess it, to go to God and confess. I really want to leave the house. I really want this fight to give me the justification to go use, and to confess that to God and to others. And I think that ultimately is going to take away some of the power of that excuse. And my most sincere hope for you is that as you realize what Christ has done to forgive you for that ridiculous set of behaviors, you'll start to appreciate him and enjoy him, and your heart will change, and you'll want to do things that please this person that has forgiven you.